Welcome back, everyone, to Neighbors in the Network. I'm James Pinedo, your host, and today we have a wonderful guest, Ceci Iglesias, the founder and director of Latino Engagement for the Parent Union at the California Policy Center. Ceci, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, James, for the opportunity. I'm excited to have this conversation.
I have been so excited too. I've been looking at all your work and just been blown away by the depth of work that you've accomplished, and then by the singular focus that you've had looking at groups that have been really not underappreciated, but just we haven't been able to reach out to them in the network before. And you really have been able to do that with Parents Union, especially with the Latino engagement side. So I'm really excited to chat with you and hear more about your story. So thank you again. Let's get started, shall we?
Yes.
Great. Okay. So before we get into the now, I'd like to look back into the past. Can you tell me a little bit about how you grew up, what your background is that brought you to this place now?
So thank you for asking. Well, I'm an immigrant from El Salvador. I came here to the United States when I was just 7 years old. My mom brought us over here, seeking for better opportunities for us, better future. My mom was really strict on education, and she always made sure that we were always on top of our studies, and that made sure that if we had any questions or anything, she would be there to support us. So I've learned from her that it's always a family effort in order for your child to be successful academically. And through the process, I was raised in a family that we were very involved with the church. And so the church played a significant role in my upbringings. So it's been something that I've always been used to, and just kind of like it's my environment and I feel very comfortable in. And I graduated from high school, went on to college, got a degree in human services. But at the same time, I was working for the County of Orange, which it was working with social services agencies. So it's always been people oriented, been able to really engage and just have that relationship with our community. And then in 2012, I ran for school board, and so I'm fast forwarding. I ran for school board, and I was able to get elected with a minimal resources when it comes financially, but I had the resource and the backing of our community, which is the relationships that I built when I was a social worker, and also when being part of the church community. In Santa Ana, it's a big community, especially among the Latinos. They're very united when it comes to being part of the church community. Doesn't matter what denomination, but as long as you're part of the church community, it's your family. And those are the two elements that I used for my race for running for school board. And, I was very successful. I came in first place, got the most votes with the least amount of money. And it was because the community knew that, I had their best interest at heart. And also, knowing that I'm a parent, that I had my son, he was in second grade back then when I ran for school board. So it was this opportunity for me to capitalize on all the relationships that I built. It wasn't, something that was selfish, but it was something that my commitment to the community was, I'm going to be there for you, ensure that we as a parent community and our kids, we get the public quality education that they deserve. So with the parent union, when we started it, my goal was for us to have a presence when it came to budgeting, for us to have a presence in decision making when they started allocating funds. And that's when California also started a process, which was local control accountability plan. But even within that plan, because, they just make it sound so nice. The bureaucrats make it sound so nice. But then it's like within that plan, it's like, really, you need to get genuine engagement into the plan, not just, say it by quotes, kind of like we did the process and, we did include the people that we were told to include. But it was not really, in my opinion, and this is what I would share with the parents, it's not really a genuine engagement. What you need to do is ensure that you're part of those conversations and that they're really looking at the needs that you have for your child. because that's what their money is supposed to be used for. And then so the parents, especially here in Orange County, were informed, and then they have been very active. And then so our goal with the parent union is to we've been going into like Bakersfield, we've been going cross state to different counties, sharing all this information with them. So a lot of the parents know that, they have options, that they have rights. And so that was the parent union as a parent union. But now, with the lockdowns, it's just changed a lot of things, James. So I don't know if I'm running into another question, but, it just changed a lot of things. And we were, especially with the movement, because it's very grassroots. The parent union is very grassroots. And it's that one-on-one engagement with that parent. It's that personal connection. It's that in-person, type of conversations that really work. And the way I see this movement, especially within the grassroots movement within our community and with any community, it's just like how you run campaigns. The candidate has to have that one, face-to-face connection with that voter. And then once that voter sees that they're there and they answer their questions, and then that they're going to do the best, for the community, but also taking into consideration their needs and their concerns. Same thing with the La Unión de Padres. That's why I tell them with his parents, I said, you need to get involved. The school district needs to hear from you. So when they start seeing that, here's a leader or a candidate that's going to take their child's best educational environment to heart and make sure that their kids deserve and receive the resources, the parents will be more open to having those conversations. And then they're not going to fall for anything that the school district tells them or the bureaucrats tell them. So, I believe that's, for me, has been very successful with the parent union. And, we're moving forward with other, projects. And the parent union has been a tool and also a resource for our community. And it's, like I said, we started in 2015. So now it's been over 8 years almost. Yeah.
Well, I want to ask a lot about that when you say community, and that really, it seems like that's a huge focus for you, is community. Like that's what allowed you to get to win or one of the factors that allowed you to win that school board nomination. And that's really something that you continue to focus on now with the parents union. And when you say it's a grassroots campaign, and I think back to your mom who took 7-year-old you from El Salvador and went to California. I saw a video that said it was a very uncomfortable bus ride, which I'm sure it was incredibly uncomfortable, but you took it. And I'm struck by the fact that you live in California, which, at least on face value, it seems like it's a tougher road to hoe than it's more difficult to battle for parental empowerment in this state than other states that have, already have education choice and things like that. So what is it about your choice to stay in your community, to fight for that community, even though it's pretty difficult?
Yeah. Well, like you mentioned, it's my mom, her perseverance, her tenacity to really give us the best education and also the best future. I believe, just like me at 7-year-old, when I see a 7-year-old or any child that is in our schools, they deserve that too. And we just can't give up on them. And then, so if anything, they just motivate me to keep on going. And like I shared, I am a mom. Now my son, he's already in college. But, going through the process with him, I said, it's something that I need to do, because it's not fair. It's not fair that, we allow these bureaucrats to just get away with it. And then these kids are not they're not getting what they deserve. And what I see, especially in our community, the Latino community, James, is that our community it's not as informed on their rights and also on what they can ask for when it comes to for their child's education. Because
why is that? Why are we not informed, our Latino community?
Because the information doesn't get to us as quickly as the English speaking community, especially because a lot of the traditional media. They don't provide the information to us. At the school system, I mean, the school setting, they don't provide the information for us. They just kind of pretty much just run through or just tell us just sign here, sign there. They really don't explain. But our Latino community are, in my opinion, they are programmed that way because, you know, in our countries, we don't question authority. We trust the system. Versus, you know, here we can question authority. We can say, you know, ask for accountability, but we're not used to that as Latinos. We're not used to it, especially I would say like the ones, the immigrant community, the naturalized citizens, the ones that, you know, the ones we were born here. We are just used to that system from the country that we came from. And so we don't question it. And so that's why, you know, my commitment has been with the parent union is to take it a notch, I know a little bit different now, that we still have the parent union, but I am focusing now on La Unión de Padres, which is just taking it to them and giving the message all in Spanish. Because, you know, even in English, it's a complex system to navigate. And so imagine for someone that doesn't really understand the system, they just rather just not question and say, you know what, I'm just going to pray for the best and just, you know, get my child graduate from high school and, you know, just go on to college. But they don't understand that they could ask for different resources, that they could ask for different educational options. And this is why I'm taking it to them, like kind of like taking it to the streets and taking it to them. I say, you know what, no, that we have options. We have, you know, we have different opportunities. Well, what we need is just the parents to be committed. And, you know, and then when I talk to the parents, especially the Spanish speaking parents, the one that, you know, Spanish is for their first language, they're like, Ceci, I did not know that we could do this.
You're empowering them to question. You're empowering them to question. And that's huge. That's huge. I was just in the doctor's office yesterday, and there was a Latino woman, a Latina next to me as we were checking out. And I heard her like thank the doctor and say, God bless you, doctor. Thank you very much. And then she got to check out and they said, so you need to get more tests. And the doctors and the woman said, the doctor didn't tell me that. And in my experience, my doctor said, you're going to get this test and that test and this test and that test. And then, okay, great. And we go. And the woman said, well, this is the woman behind the counter says, this is what you're supposed to do. And the woman said, okay, sure, fine. And it's like, it's almost like Latinos maybe even feel like we're guests still in the country. I don't know. Am I projecting too much and we're afraid to question sometimes? I mean, I'm third generation now of immigrant from Mexico. So I think after 3 generations, I have a much less agreeable, but I sense there's a lot of agreeableness. Is that wrong, or am I projecting?
No, that's what happens. That's what happens in a lot of settings where you have authority, and a lot of the Latinos are afraid to question. And you know, so what you're right. You know, so our goal is to empower these parents to say, you know what, no, even if you don't have the right status, you know, the immigrant status to be here, like you're not legal, you know, a resident here, or you're not a citizen, it doesn't matter, because under the Constitution in California and in the United States, you know, each child is guaranteed public education. I said, but we take it further than that. We want a quality public education.
That's great. That's great.
So so you know, with them, but like I said, James, it's all in Espanol now. So now it's more like laser focused for the Spanish speaking parents.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah. So I'm excited.
I am too. You're getting me excited. So tell me a little bit. I want to jump back a little bit more. Tell me about when you graduated college, and then you started working right after college in the government, right? Working for the Health and Human Services. Is that right?
Yeah, social services agency.
Social services. Okay. Did you foresee any type of political career when you were doing that, starting out?
No, not at all. And actually, I started with the county right out of high school.
Wow.
I started as an office technician, you know, just, you know, the minimum you can do when you enter into a public I guess government agency.
Mm-hmm.
It was office technician, and then I was going to college and working at the same time because that's how we were raised. You have to go to work and you got to go to school.
Yep.
And then so I was able to be at community college, getting my credits, and then as opportunities came, I applied for promotional opportunities, and then getting my college degree. So when I got my college degree as a human services major, I applied for social worker and I was able to get it. And from then, it just went up as a social services supervisor, then as a manager. But one of the things that I saw that, especially, seeing it's the need of our community, James. It was just for me, it just left an impression in me, saying, "Wow, it's like, why do we live in this condition? Why do we not question, the way the government is run?
Is that your
Why?"
mom as well? The how did you get that questioning spirit?
Well, it's from my mom. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Because, she, even though, she only had a third grade education, but she was able to navigate the system because, she was, when she was raising us, she was like, no, we have to get everything that we can. And, but the support that she had behind her, because her being an immigrant herself, was the church. So
Mm.
there was church members that really helped her navigate the system. So, it's kind of like always like paying it forward, people helping her ask the right questions and her not being afraid to ask those questions. So those are the same, I would say, examples I set for the parents. You're not alone. We got to do this as a community. Just,
Yep.
we know that, if they see you alone, they're like, oh, we can ignore her or him. But if they see like a lot of us just asking for the same things and asking them for accountability, they're going to start. When I say they, it's like the bureaucrats and the unions. They're going to start saying, "Oh wow, okay, we better start paying
Yeah.
attention to our community." Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my mom. I believe it's my mom, the way she was. She raised me. So I started asking questions too.
That's beautiful. What would she say now? And like seeing you start the parents union and start all these things, what would she say?
She's excited. She's all like, "You're always, trying to do something that really helps the community." So she was very actually, no, she helped me in the process because, like I said, I grew up in a church community, and then her and my dad were pastors too.
Oh,
Eventually,
wow.
so they knew a lot of people that live, especially here in Santana, that were part of the community. So she is proud because it's saying, it's like it's something that it's it's not selfish. It's something that that it instilled in us that we got to do better for our community because God, I believe that God gives us the ability, God gives us the resources. We just have to learn how to be able to expand and just reach out and tell people, okay, this is where it is. And for me, like being like in, like you're saying, in social services and being part of the system helped me understand how broken the system is.
Hmm.
Because for me, it was a shame that there were some people that really needed the help, James,
Hmm.
but couldn't receive the benefits because there were regulations.
Hmm.
And then there were people that were getting the benefits that what I would see in my assessment is like they really don't need it. But since they're eligible, they get it. And it's just like it was like so unfair.
Mm.
And so I said, you know what? No, it's just you just can't check boxes. Like, no, from now on you really need to, me talking to myself is like, no, I really need to take this information out to the community and say, this is how you empower yourself. This is how you ask for benefits. Because what I was seeing a lot of the immigrant community, they weren't asking for a handout. What we want is a handout. It just help us get to that better step. And that's how, with my mom being in the church community, that's the same way. We help each other, we provide each other resources, and we have to empower each other. And then for me, seeing inside the government how it works, it's like we need to see, okay, this is how, these are our rights, these are our responsibilities. I've always been taught, it's self-sufficiency, but with the opportunity of someone helping you get to the next point. And then you move it, you pay it forward. And that's how I feel the parent union is, because with information that we're able to share with the parents, they're our biggest advocates, they're our biggest I would say spokesperson, because when they believe, when a parent believes that they've been served well, they bring, they refer us to other parents. What the parent union, or with Ceci, La Unión de Padres, she was able to explain to me, this is how it works. If I want to get my son more resources, this is how it works. And I've always told them, I said, use me as a resource, because, when people see that when you drop a name, they're like, oh, okay, so what you're talking about. So, and I said, and it's not about, what Ceci can do, it's what you deserve. And then so they know that. So, I'm able to share with them, this is how the process works, because I've seen it, being as a social worker and also being an elected with a school board. I've seen that this is how the system works. And I want you to understand it, because we are public servants, with the workers, they work for you. It's not the other way around. I said, don't be afraid to ask for anything that you need, and then and demand accountability. So when I'm able to share the process with them, and they're able to share with their friends, and then their friends, I believe that we're going to have a very informed community, and in the process we are going to be able to win those communities long-term relationships. Because with me, that's how I see. You have to invest in order for you to, and it doesn't happen overnight, James. It doesn't. But but I know. But once you start cultivating those relationships, then people will see, and then if they see it, it's non-political. That's our goal, because we don't want to be political. We don't want to be partisan. We're just a group of parents that want the best for our kids, like anybody else.
That's beautiful. I love it. How is it that Parents Union and you are also now working with the California Policy Center? Did it come from the California Policy Center, or how did it shake down?
Oh, well, shutdown is like after when I wasn't part of the team of California Policy Center in 2015, but me being an elected official, as a school board member, and in 2016, the California Policy Center asked if I would join their team. And then they would take the parent union under their umbrella as a project of the California Policy Center, and they'll provide resources so we could do more engagement, not just within Santa Ana, because they saw how it really worked in Santa Ana, how successful it was, and then that we're able to spread it so county-wide and then eventually statewide. And I believe, with the support of the California Policy Center, we have been able to do that. We have been able to reach far and wide with the efforts of the parent union, and now have more staff on board that are focusing on those goals and objectives that we had in order for us to grow statewide. And now it's given me the opportunity and the flexibility to refocus. I mean, it's the same mission, but refocus on just reaching out to the Latino community, the Spanish speaking community, because we believe that there's a great need in that community, especially in California. The Latinos were like the minority, who we're a majority here in California. So I believe once we start educating the Spanish speaking community, I believe we're going to have a lot of success when it comes to elections. I mean, I know this is not partisan. I mean, this is supposed to be political, but an informed voter, an informed electorate, they're the ones that really drive, the success of the community, the state, the county. And I believe a lot of that we have missed opportunities because we're not taking the message in Spanish to the Spanish speaking community. So they said, so the opposition has been able to be successful in taking them, just sharing with them what they believe is what they should know, but they don't give them the entire process or the entire story. So they just share what they want to know in order for the opposition to be successful. So now, if we take it to them in Spanish, they're able to question. And I tell them, I said, no importa, it doesn't matter what language you ask for your rights, but just ask for them.
Mm.
So what I've seen, it's just something in their playbook in the opposition, that they pretty much, I tell our Latino community, especially the Spanish speaking, they throw us a bone. I go, they just give us the bare minimum in order for us, according to them, just for us to be happy. I said, but it's time that we rise up and say, you know what, enough is enough. We're not going to put up with this anymore. Our kids can't be the ones that are going to be at 17% proficiency in math, 20% proficiency in English. I said, that is not acceptable, and you need to hold them accountable. And I said, and I'll go with you, or we'll go with you with the parent. We have to demand accountability from these bureaucrats. And I said, and until we do that, things are not going to change. So when you start sharing with the Spanish speaking parents, like, are you happy with what's going on in school? They're like, well, no, says, there's things that I've asked for and they haven't given it to me. And I said, ¿por qué? Why? They're like, oh, well, they say that there's no money. And I'm like, oh my God, that's like the biggest excuse that they'll always give you. And then so when I started telling them this is what they have, they're like, oh my gosh. And I said, no, yeah, go back to them one more time. And I tell them, we explain to them the process. Go to your teacher first, then go to your principal. Then if that, they'll go to the superintendent. And if that doesn't work, I said, you call me, we'll go to the school board and we'll make this public. And then they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. So, they don't want bad publicity. I said, it doesn't matter. We'll do our comments in Espanol. I said, well, we'll go together. And so when they feel, the Spanish speaking community that they're being supported, just like with any other community, but now it's like we're laser focused on just giving the information and informing our Spanish speaking community about their rights that they have. And it's been, at the beginning, it was a little challenge just going back, especially because of the lockdowns. But now, after we've started this just laser focused for the Spanish speaking community at the beginning of the year, it's I see it's getting traction, and now it's something that we're taking it a step further, and that's something I would like to share too with the churches. We have to take it there too.
Yeah, no, I was wanting to ask about that. How does that, so the Latino community is, at least as far as the data I've seen, one of the most religious, as far as religiosity goes in polling. The Latino community is very high, which seems to think that if you're wanting to build community and you're wanting to help with education on the education front, you should work through with a faith-based bent. And I know that you have the Coalition of Latino Pastors that you work with. What is that? How do you work with these Latino pastors, and then what does that look like?
So the opportunity just showed up because that's another, and I'm grateful for the California Policy Center for embracing this opportunity and also this commitment to the Spanish speaking community. Like I shared with you, my experience, especially with running for office, my base has always been the churches, the Spanish speaking churches, because they believe in what we believe. They want what we want, James. Yeah, the Spanish speaking pastors, oftentimes it's kind of like the way we're going in, to working with them is reassuring them that as pastors and as faith leaders, that they have, and I would say, an obligation and responsibility to give the support to their congregants. And one of the things that I'm focusing on, especially with a faith-based community, is our community is the one that gets the least resources. And I said, have you asked yourself why? And I said, because a lot of the pastors, they want to be out in the community, serving the community. And then I shared with them. I said, yeah. I said, but why are we in the conditions that we're in? And like I said, I feel comfortable with them because my parents being pastors, I guess I feel the comfort level that I can ask the pastors those questions, being respectful. And I said, it's elections matter. I said, I go, have you thought about it? I said, why is it that our neighboring cities, say like Irvine or Brea or like the more, influential communities. I said, why don't they have the crime that we do in our community? And they have churches too. And then so they're, they kind of get them thinking. And I said, it's because, we, unfortunately, because we are not as informed or involved. I said, we need to get out, out of these four walls and really start engaging civically. I said, be out in the public square. I said, with the same, confidence that we do here within the church, inside the church. And so like you're saying, the Latinos really hold faith as one of their strongest values when we when we come here, and also as we raise our families. And so they really look up to their pastors. So with me, I was just like, I respect my pastors. I work with them. And so one thing that I shared with them is just, us being, as a community, Latino community, seeing that the church plays a significant role. I say, why is it that we're living in the conditions that we are? I said, yeah, it's a little bit better than our countries. I said, but it's not really, I think, to the level that we should be living in. And so James, one of the things that I shared with them was how important it is, for us to have an educated, community. One thing that they don't want to get involved is politics. Like I say, we do not want to get involved in politics. We don't want to. I said, no, this is not getting involved in politics. I said, we just need to inform our community. So when they make their choices, they'll be able to say, okay, you know what? This person stands for our values. This person doesn't. And I said, and in California, like I said, I'm not giving up, because I know we have the big, we're the minority, but we are a majority when it comes to the population here. I said, when we start making informed decisions, and the voters start seeing the candidates that start representing their values, I said, things are going to be better for everyone. And I believe, it's going to be a great relationship. And also I said, the faith-based community, James, is it's critical. It's critical because our kids are being, in a way, in our schools, they're being taught ideologies that are against what the Latinos believe in. Most of the Latinos, especially like I said, the first generation Latinos, the ones who are immigrants, it goes against the values, because what we want is family. And what they're doing in the schools, like I shared before, is breaking that family union. So when a pastor is talking about, family, I believe, this coalition of Latino pastors is going to be able to provide them the resources, and also the engagement and the comfort level to be able to talk to elected officials. We're not here to play politics, but what we want is for you to take our community into consideration. And what we want is for us to be partners, and also be able to receive the resources that we deserve. So the Latino community will benefit because, like you said, there's a strong connection with faith in the Latino community, that, as with the coalición under the project of the California Policy Center, we are going to be able to start making those small steps, and eventually get the Spanish-speaking pastor involved civically, and here within California.
That's amazing. I find it incredibly exciting, and I want to hear more. Where can I find out more about that project, the Coalition of Latino Pastors?
Through the California Policy Center website.
Great.
So just look up California Policy Center, and then we should have the tab there for the coalición.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for working on that. I know that we're terribly over time, and I'm taking so much of your time. Do you have time for one more question?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So you just told me a little bit about what your vision is, how you're making small steps. What is your kind of big picture hope and your goals for the future of the Coalition for Latino Pastors, the Parents Union, and then even maybe California Policy Center as a whole?
So the bigger picture with the coalición is for the pastors to be comfortable in the public square and
Okay.
ultimately become like advisors to all these elected officials. So when we see a bad law coming through that's going to affect our values and our community, we are going to be outspoken, and we are going to go to these hearings and really have those conversations, candid conversations with these elected officials. So, the elected officials, they'll see the pastor. If it's just one pastor, they know that pastor has like 200, 300 people behind them. So, so it's I would say it's an opportunity for them to see that we have influence within our community, and that it should be a relationship on how we're going to govern our community. And it's not a top-down approach. It's going to be bottom up, so the electorate's the ones going to say, this are the needs that we want. And then the pastors are going to become like the bridge. And then the elected officials are the ones that are going to be governing, right? Or setting those laws. But it's going to be with the input of the pastors, the Spanish speaking pastors. Because, we have other pastors that are English speaking. We're working with them. That's a partnership that we're doing. But with us, it's just laser focused with the Spanish speaking pastors.
What I understand is that the policies that are being shaped are shaped such that the values that your community, that the Latino community in California holds, are changed. And what we want to do is inverse that, where the values that the Latino community holds in California are shaping the policies that are being made. Is that right?
You got it. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
I love that. That's brilliant. Okay, thank you for illuminating that.
Yeah. And then with the La Unión de Padres, we're just going to come in and add to the efforts that we're already doing with the parent union. We're going to make sure we hold our local elected officials accountable, especially our school board members and our city council members, because those are the elected officials that affect our day-to-day. And so with the partnership and the collaboration between the coalición with the pastors and the parent community, I believe we could really drive, like you said, for our values and our needs to drive the policies that are being implemented, both at the state, the county, and also the federal level. Because once, these congressmen start seeing that we are really pushing the Latino community forward, they'll be saying, wow, because that's the game. I mean, that's a game, or what they get from the playbook from the opposition. They use that. They use us, James. They use us to get elected. And so I keep telling them, enough is enough. We can't be used. What we have to do is participate in the process and hold them accountable. So my goal is with both the La Unión de Padres and the Coalición de Pastores Latinos is for us to add to the efforts of the California Policy Center as a whole, and also like all our affiliates, statewide. Because once we start making progress within the Latino community, people are going to start watching. This is what's going on. And I know that that's what happened when, like the charter movement, that's what happened. A lot of the Latinos and a lot of the Black community, they've been choosing charter schools. Why? Because the system, the way it's set up, it's not working. But, it takes a lot of grassroots. And, it's one thing that we have to get out of our, just like I tell the pastors, you got to get out of the four walls in the church. As community leaders, we got to get out of our office and just be out there. We have to be present, because that's the only way that we are going to make a difference. And, with the California Policy Center, they have been very supportive. And I know it's something that it's just going to grow. And grassroots organizing is the best way to get in front of the community and really have those honest conversations. Because, when they get to see a face, they're like, okay, so you're real, you're not just someone, behind a video or anything. It's like, no, we live your experience. We have lived your experiences. And that's the reason why we're here. We want to make it better for our future generations. So can I count with your support? And the parents are like, yeah, let's do it. So I believe, this is a step in the right direction. And, California is going to, like I said, I'm not giving up on California. It's a beautiful state. It's ours. And then these bureaucrats can't force us out. We got to fight them back, and it's not just for the sake of fighting, but I think it's for the sake of protecting our rights and protecting our values. And once, they see that that we're requesting from them is respect. We want respect in our community, because for so long, the Latino community has been disrespected by the bureaucrats and by the public employee unions. And that's something that I'm willing to, to advocate for and fight for, because we deserve it.
That's wonderful. And I can't wait to see everything that happens from this conversation on. And congratulations on all the achievements you've made up till now. I was thinking about the title as I was listening to everything you were saying, but I was also in the back of my mind thinking about what the title of this video should be. And the first thing I was thinking about, because we're talking about questioning authority, teaching the Latino community to question authority, but then at the same time, you're respecting authority on the other hand, because working through church leaders, that's a respect for authority. You're relying upon, but so it seems almost like you're questioning misplaced authority or something like that. That's kind of like the mantra is like, if an authority has been taken that is not been granted by the community, then we need to question that. And the only way to know if that happens is if we're enabled to continue to question, and we work through actually well-placed authority in our communities to do it. Am I making too much of it? What do you make of that?
No, you're hitting it. You're hitting a home run. No, that's exactly what needs to happen. And I believe that's where the success especially with the pastors, because, I go to them, respecting their position, respecting their authority and their influence in our community, because they genuinely want the best for our community, and they're leaders, like you were saying. But, the ones that are taking advantage of their position and their authority, those are the ones that we have to question. So wonderful. Definitely, you hit a home run.
No, you have. So thank you. I was just trying to hear and then understand everything you're saying. So thank you so much for helping me to do that. Before we part, can you direct me to any or nominate anyone else for me to next interview on Neighbors in the Network?
Yeah, definitely. One organization that I've been good partners with in the quest of engaging with the Latino community is Parents Defending Education. They have been very open and very, excited. They've been great collaborators in the process. So yeah, they have a lot of wisdom to share.
Wonderful. Okay, well, thank you for that nomination, and thank you again for imparting all this wisdom to me. I really hope that we continue the conversation and I can hear more about all the great work you do and continue to do, and all the great effects that you have in your community. So please let's keep talking, shall we?
Yeah, thank you, James. And watch next year, I'll say, James, we have 500 pastors that showed up to a hearing in Sacramento.
Great. I can't wait. You be sure to let me know. I love that. Okay. Well, thanks again.
Thank you, James. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks for listening to Neighbors in the Network, an offering from the State Policy Network. We hope that this podcast can serve as a place for empathy, understanding, and human connection. Please let us know about your thoughts in the comments section. And thanks again.